Abyss is insane. The amount of plays you can do, the amount of fun you can have is ridiculous. And to be honest, in the background footage, I think I did pretty good. I played with a ton of other creators in early access, and I'm not going to lie, this map alongside this style of patch could be Valorant's biggest saving grace, and I'll explain why. This is the first time in a long while I genuinely enjoyed playing Valorant. And yes, when you're playing 10 stack mans and creator lobbies, of course it is automatically more fun, but no, I usually play 1 to 2 hours with these early access before I feel burnt out. I played 6 hours straight, barely feeling it, because that's just how fun this newest patch is, and I'll explain why for a variety of reasons. First of all, there's Abyss, the newest map. This breaks a lot of new boundaries for Valorant, and I'm so excited. Actually, believe it or not, the night before early access, I was playing Counter-Strike 2, and I prefer Valorant a lot. I'm very noob at Counter-Strike, but one of the biggest things I have to give that game credit for is the maps are genuinely enjoyable. They also just makes sense. This map did it. This map did so much right. I literally need to glaze this map like crazy because it's done a ton right. One, it feels natural. Sure, at the beginning, you're still going to be completely lost, and I did play 6 hours, but it only took about an hour before I felt at home with this map. It just makes sense. The points of contacts are fast, but not too fast. The rotations are enjoyable. There's a ton of different areas to fight on. There's a ton of verticality. You can fall off on die, which I know sounds crazy, and a lot of creators, including myself, were falling and dying, and it was hilarious. We were all laughing, but that's besides the point. Allowing that barrier outside the map where you can fall also allows that first play that you saw in the clip where I jump around the corner. It allows Grims to do a ton of different walls. It allows Yoru TPs to fall off. It allows a ton of new gameplay potential. There's a lot more off angles. There's a lot more verticality. Abilities have room to breathe. Valorant has needed this for a long time, because think about it. Why does something like Counter-Strike have more areas to go on with more verticality and more off angles than a game that is littered with abilities where flat plain maps that are just too basic get over cluttered? You guys are seeing this in VCT. Too many abilities come out. It's just a shit show to watch. This is the map that Valorant needed to breathe. Actually, it only breaks my heart how much better this map is than every other map. At first, you might be frustrated because it's a new map, but please give it a chance. Think about the things you can do. Start understanding the playmaking potentials, and when you start working with your team, the execute potentials are just on another level. The way you have to control this map is important. The way you can also retake control feels balanced. On a lot of maps, think about it this way. On a lot of maps, you lose map control or you lose site control. It feels overwhelming, daunting, and a little bit annoying to play retake. This is quite standard on a lot of maps. In this map, it's actually enjoyable to play retake. And who really says that? I actually preferred on B site to sometimes let it up and play retake because it was easier to retake it than it was to defend it. Just because this map flips a lot of the basics of Valorant on its head, and again, I love it. It is a breath of fresh air. And I think the title will be like how this map saved Valorant, and partially it is true. Things like Last Act, where we only got skins, is terrible. It's actually, again, it breaks my heart that not every update is a little bit more feisty, because it really did breathe fresh air. But the map alone is only one part. I was playing Neon on ISO. I'm a Yoru main. I don't play every single agent. I don't play a ton of agents, but I had so much fun because they made, especially ISO, Neon was always decent still, not the best, but decent, but they made like ISO viable, fun actually, so much that he's probably going to be one of my mains now. I'm thinking of trying to grind him in rank. That's how much fun I had playing ISO. I don't know how much it's going to hold, but that's the second thing. I've been for so long, guys, so long. I keep saying, please just buff agents that are dead on arrival, and don't take this long to do it ever again. It's crazy that Deadlock still hasn't been buffed. Deadlock should have been part of this. Just change it up. Change it up. Nerf and balance and change and like, I can't say rework, but minor rework, I guess, the agents more often. It can single-handedly freshen up the game, even outside the map. Single-handedly. Now that ISO feels like a competent duelist, we won't have the same mindless agents over and over. Valorant's bread and butter are their agents. We can't have agents that are useless and barely played with like a 0.5% pick rate. It feels terrible. Like, you're losing a lot of Valorant's spark, a lot of what makes it Valorant. So for future reference, this patch will eventually dull. Right now, it's fresh and it's done so much right. It's made Valorant so enjoyable for me. That's just me being honest. It's made Valorant genuinely enjoyable for me. And all I can do is I hope that Riot takes one, the map design and how good this map is, my goodness, and makes future maps this good. I hope they take a lot from it. I hope they open up the map pool so we can keep things more fresh. And I hope that they make more aggressive balance changes more often. Throw the balance for a loop. Change up the meta. Let me see different agents picked and creative playstyles flourish. That's what makes Valorant fun. Neon changes are also a great example because I have no idea if they're net positive or not. Like, basically they buffed the shit out of her movement. You just move overall smoother and faster and you get an extra slide, but they removed a stun, and I'm like, hell yeah, give me... I don't know if objectively an extra slide is better than an extra stun for a tactical shooter. I have no idea, but it sure as hell is more fun to slide around than stun. So I'm all for it. Again, changing things up really does freshen things. Now for Raze, I don't really know. I didn't actually play Raze at all, and only one person played Raze for one game in the 6 hours. So Raze, I know, did get the nerf. I'm okay. Again, nerfs are good too, because what we're trying to see here is more of some other agents and less of some agents. Just to, again, that's what keeps things fresh, right? Variety within the agents. In a perfect world, everything is always viable 24/7, but no, as we can see, agents will always dominate, so it is good to bring some others to light. Now, of course, when someone is starving, anything can taste good. And why I say this is because Valorant was in quite a terrible drought. Not only were the last patch just skins, like the last act, but on top of that, we had the same map pool forever. There's certain maps we haven't seen for literally over half a year or a year now. I'm not even keeping track. So Valorant was already on a drought. You can say us players were starving. So if you feed us anything, it might taste good. But I think this one was just exceptional. That's the thing. If this map was mediocre and there was no balance changes, it still would have tasted somewhat good because we were starving. But I think objectively speaking, I might be overhyping it, and I know that after a week, you know, it's gonna settle in. And if you're watching this a week after the map come out, you might be like, yo, what's up with this guy? Which is true. Hype fades. I'm not oblivious to this. This hype will fade, but I still want to express this hype just because part of it is hype for the future. I just hope that Valorant repeats this style of patching. I hope they repeat these aggressive changes. I hope they make maps that are way more unique like this, like a rope that hangs over the void, and then I can be super sneaky on it. I don't know if you've already seen the clips or they're coming up next. I can like hold on the rope and then do surprise attacks. You know what I mean? You can run around ledges from both sides. Both sides feel a little bit more balanced than other maps. No one site feels way better than the other site. And then there's just like a mid that you can like divide through and have verticality fights. Like these long vertical fights are so much more enjoyable than, you know, like Breeze feels a lot more flat compared to this, and then the distance was too grand. This strikes a good balance. It kind of creates hallways. You can see here mid, it's not exactly a hallway. It is a hallway, but it's not overly narrow. It just strikes a very positive balance between distance, and there's also variety, man. You can play a lot of Vandal from far distances, but then there's enough corners to get up and personal. Like we had one person basically just maining the Stinger through this entire map, and I thought it was a Vandal map because I felt the distances were grand, but he showed that because it's such a well-designed map, based off positioning, he could always get close enough to deal damage. And that's what's, again, it's the balance. The fact that I feel a lot feels pretty viable, but not perfect. I'm a Yoru main, and I couldn't perform on Yoru for the life of me. I felt like I couldn't set up good TPs, they would fall off the map, etc. But that's likely a skill difference more than it is anything else, right? It's more likely me doing something bad versus the map doing something bad, but only time will tell. I want to see what the other high ranks, as if I'm high rank, bro, I'm plat. Like everyone in this lobby was like ascendant to Radiant, but for the most part, I want to see what other people have to say. But for everyone I've played with, all the Ascendants, Immortals, Radiants, they all loved it. They all said this is a very fun map, and this wasn't the sentiment on every single map. Like when Sunset first came out, I still think Sunset was good overall, but I know a lot of people, even during the playtest, didn't love it. So a lot of division. This one so far, everyone I've talked to has enjoyed it. So much so that even just you guys, people who were in the stream, watching me, watching my friends, they were looking and they were saying, this seems fun. And if a map can just by watching it seem fun, you know something's right about it. Something's right about it. It's just because it changed up Valorant a lot. It's a map that Valorant needed. Now only time will tell if everything I've said is true or if I've overhyped it and everything will fall flat. I definitely want to hear your guys' opinions, and if you're watching this after the map has come out, which I believe should be on June 11th, basically I think this map comes out alongside the new agent changes, and then 2 weeks later it'll be in competitive, which is a alongside the new battle pass, the new episode, etc. So it's like a weird thing where it comes out a little bit before the next act starts, but honestly, it's welcome. I want this patch in as quickly as possible. Even I think I'll be back on the grind playing Valorant. I don't know, that's weird to say. Again, only time will tell, but at least I know one thing is for certain. This was a step in the right direction, and I don't think anything can convince me otherwise, because it was just super enjoyable to play. I definitely want to see more agent changes. That's the map might be the first takeaway, more vertical, more interesting, unique maps, but the other one is just bigger agent changes. But again, let me know what you think down below, and thank you for watching.